Okay, guys, for your math lesson, you need your math book. Make sure you have it turned to page 203. Just like anything else that we've been doing lately, and we should always make sure we do this, is we're reading the directions carefully and answering only what the prompt is asking you to do. All right, so look at number one real quick. See, it's telling us to, this goes back a little bit, round these numbers. All right. And so there's sets of numbers here. And then it's telling us to round to the nearest 10. Next section, rounding to the nearest 100, right? So we're looking at our place value here. So we'll do a couple on this one and get you going. So 329. I'm rounding to the nearest 10, right? So I'm looking at here to tell me which way, if I'm going to round up to 330 or if I'm going to round down. Remember, if you need to make a number line to help you, I would do that. So 329, is that closer to the nearest 10? Is that closer to 330? Or is that going to be closer to 320? Right? So if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, this one I would go up, right? To 330. Right? So to my nearest 100. Now I'm looking at my 10 spot, right? To see if that is closer to, so if 329 is 29, is that closer to 0? Or is that, or 300? 329, is 329 closer to 300? Or is that 329 closer to 400? Because I'm rounding to my nearest 100, or not my 100, I'm rounding to my nearest 100. So 329, that's only 29 spots away or jumps on the number line away from 300. And it is 71 jumps away from being rounded to 400, right? So I'm going to round down. So if I'm rounding to my nearest 100, I'm going to round that down. That would be 300. Okay? So fill out the rest of these. Make sure you read, because it's been a little bit since we've done this, to the nearest 10, looking at our place value, looking at, if we're looking at a 10 spot, we're looking here. If we're looking at our 100 spot, we're looking here to see which way are we going to round up, like we did here, or are we going to round down? And you might do the same one, depending on, it might be you're rounding up on both of them. Make sure you read the directions, okay? On number two, okay, this one, you need to read it all the way through. You can round, but it's asking you specifically how many pieces of silverware did he use in all. So if you round, you got to make sure you go back and account for those numbers, okay? Then we have some multiplying. Then we have some adding and subtracting, okay? So again, remember how we were doing this before we left. We talked about using different strategies. I'm going to do 80 minus 74. You might already know that in your head, but that's okay. We're going to go over 80 minus 74 and go over it specifically, how you can set this up. Can I take 4 away from the 10 spot? No, I cannot, right? So we have to borrow or decompose here. And then we take that 10 away. So we're basically making this 10 minus 4 would be 6. Okay? 74 from 80. 80 minus 74 is 6. Trick here, or a strategy, you can always add these two up. That should get you back to that number. So 74 from 80 is 6. So you have multiplication and you have subtraction. Also, you have a challenge. Emery tore up 10 sheets to make 330 napkins. How many napkins did he make out of each sheet? Show your work. Okay? So showing your work is showing your work. Okay? Not just answering it, because you might know in your head, you need to show me your work. Make sure you upload that into Seesaw. A couple of you, when you were turning in your social studies assignment, if you hold it away from the camera, I am not able to see it clearly. So you might have to get an adult or somebody to help you with that, but you need to try to make sure you can upload it the best that you can to Seesaw so I can actually see your work and comment. Okay? You guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon.